Welcome back to the TwinSpires Jury. I'm Ashley Anderson here with James Scully and Darin Zoccali to talk our best bets and fades of the week at Keeneland for the Saturday and Sunday card. And real quick, I wanted to mention our month-long promo code, the Jury, all one word, for a 15% boost on your first win wager in any of the races we're about to talk about in our best bets and fade section. Darin, let's start off with you this week. Tell us about your best bet of the week and where you're going to play that.
Yeah, I'm going to be going to Keeneland again because we got rain coming to New York. So I don't know what the races are going to look like again on Saturday. But Keeneland on Saturday, I'm going to actually tackle this maiden special weight race that kicks off the late pick 4, 3-year-olds and upward around 2 turns. Number 6, Ben Franklin, I thought was interesting. If you watch the debut when sprinting 6 furlongs, bobbled a bit coming out of the start, was near the back, almost shuffled back to last, then was asked to pick it up on the far turn and started to make some kind of steady progress heading towards the leaders. Really didn't seem like he hit his best stride until inside the final 16th of a mile. By City of Light out of a Dixie Union mare. I think this is a gelding that's going to get better with the additional bit of ground going around 2 turns for the first time. Looks like a spot that I can expect improvement. Second lifetime start here. Going against some horses like the Mount Craig, who's 0 for 10 lifetime, among others that have had quite a few cracks at this. So I'm looking for that big jump from start 1 to start 2 on the stretch out. Leparoux, Kenny McPeak. I think there's a lot of positive angles here with Ben Franklin in race number 7 at Keeneland.
James, you have something to say about that?
Yes, we're gonna go head to head there. I mean, we need like a $10 Kentucky Derby win wager or something on race 7 at Keeneland on Saturday.
All right.
I took a look. I took a look at Ben Franklin. Number 9, Furious Anger, ran 3rd in that race. There were 2 maiden races. The horses in this race 7 at Keeneland on Saturday are coming. There's, I thought, the main contenders. There's 2 maiden races at Churchill Downs to look at from that 2-week September stand. Darin referenced that September 23rd race that Ben Franklin comes out of. I thought that was an okay race, but I thought the top 4, we could have thrown a blanket on them at the 16th pole, and they sort of ran up and down to the wire. The winner of that race, He Ain't Poppin', got a 90 speed rating, came back and ran 4th in an entry-level allowance last Sunday. 2 days earlier on the card was a mild maiden special weight for 3-year-olds and up on September 21st. The winner of that race, Mo Fight. If you haven't heard of him, I think you will going forward. I think he's a future stakes type for Norm Cassie. He got a 98 speed rating, was, I thought, just a buzzsaw performance, won by more than 6 lengths. Though I'm going to bet the runner-up in that race, Spielman, when he comes back for Keith Desormeaux, I think he wins next time out. And my best bet of the weekend is the 3rd-place finisher, number 2, Single Dot Yacht. This is a good magic colt for Tommy Drury. He made 1 start last year, came back this year in June. First race back, caught a sloppy track, missed the break, rallied for 4th. His second start back in mid-July, a month later. Once again, he didn't get out of the gate that well from the innermost posts, but I thought he offered a decent run to be 3rd. Got beat about a length by a horse called Smile Mon, who won at odds on next out by 8 lengths at Ellis Park. And last time out, I thought Single Dot Yacht broke better. He made a nice move on the far turn. And like I said, it was no match for Mo Fight, who got a 98 figure, but I thought that was a really solid 3rd-place effort. He's second off the freshening for Tommy Drury. And on that September 23rd card, Brian Hernandez was at Parks riding in the Cotillion Stakes. But I've seen Leparoux ride for Hernandez when he's not at Keeneland or Churchill, and then Hernandez get back on those Kenny McPeak horses next time out. I wonder if Hernandez thought Single Dot Yacht was poised to graduate, because that's the way I got him, marked up in this race. And I'm going to go head to head against Darin. He almost got me last week with his fade. I thought he was crazy, so I got to give him some credit for that. But I'll take him on this week. I'll take Single Dot Yacht number 2 in race 7 against his Ben Franklin.
Was almost a really good day because the best bet won. And I thought at the top of the stretch that we were getting that fade home as well at like 2 to 5. But listen, I like Single Dot Yacht as well, Ashley. I certainly understand why James likes him. He's a deep closer. He's getting 2 turns for the first time. Did get a good setup last time. He was just 3rd best that day, but he'll definitely be on my tickets when I play the race.
Well, both of your horses have late speed, so they might be coming down the stretch head to head. It'll be interesting. I think you definitely should place that $10 Kentucky Derby wager.
Yeah,
It's
we don't
awful.
get a chance. I mean, Darin up in New York City, we don't get a chance to see each other too often face to face. But we'll definitely both be at the Derby next year. So that's always like a fun wager, $10 win wager. And here's the terms, Darin. One of our horses have to win. I don't want to
Okay.
edge here for third or fourth.
Yeah, if we run seventh or eighth, let's not pound our chest for being the guy that finishes seventh.
Okay.
All right, well, I'm going to take it over to race 8 at Keeneland. This is a 1 1/16 mile allowance on turf, and I'm going to bet number 7, Sinful Tray, at 9-2. This is an Uncle Mo filly dropping in class off a 1.5 length third in the ladies marathon at Kentucky Downs, and she's cutting back to 1 1/16 of a mile. Has one win from one try at that distance, also 1 for 1 at Keeneland, 3 back 1 at today's distance, and is getting Flavian Pratt back aboard, who won with Sinful Tray. So I'm going to fade number 9 Haughty at 4-1 in this race and then go with Sinful Tray. But I actually talked to James about number 10 Walkathon at 8-1, was interested in this horse as well, but looking at recent form, a couple of variables that make me hesitant to make Walkathon my best bet. But this is a twirling candy filly that won or broke her maiden at Keeneland in 2022 and then went on a 3-win streak, has Julian Leperoux aboard. Ian Wilkes is 4 for 14 this meet. So I'm going to include number 10 Walkathon in my horizontals as well as Sister Luann, but my best bet is Sinful Tray at 9-2.
I got to give you credit. You pick some tough races to come up with your best bet. Like this is a really tough race. And you mentioned Howdy. I'll just briefly mention when she was a 2-year-old, I thought she was a superstar. I thought going into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, she had all the upside in the world. She ran a dynamite race that day to get beat less than a length, coming from well back behind Pizza Bianca. Came back as a 3-year-old, won the Penn Oaks over a soft turf course in stylish fashion, and then never really got back to that form that we saw. I think there's a really good filly in there somewhere. Just at a short price, I could certainly understand why taking a stand against her here.
I mean, I'll say about Sinful Tray, this is a 4-year-old filly. It sort of looks like on paper, Todd Pletcher had know what to do with so far. He ran her short, then he ran her in a couple races in 1.5 miles. He ran her short again, and then he ran her last time in 1 mile and 5/16. I thought her mile effort and 1 mile and 16th efforts, 2 and 3 starts back, were very solid. And I think she's better at this 1 mile and 16th distance and going further. So, yeah, she is a candidate to put it all together, I thought, Ashley.
And Darin, we haven't talked promos yet. Are there any promos that Keeneland we should use to boost hopefully our wins this week?
Yeah, for sure. We've got a nice win bonus promo. Your win bets, the more winning wagers you connect on, the more we're going to give you. It's an escalating win bonus. So if you hit 2 winners, you get 10%. You hit 3 winners, 15%, 4 winners, 20%, and so on and so forth. So we certainly like to incentivize you to win here at TwinSpires, and that's what that promotion is built around. And then we've got leaderboards everywhere this weekend. The NHC feeder number 5 for our big qualifier coming up on November the 25th. That feeder contest takes place on the Saturday Keeneland card. And for the harness fans, we've got 3 Breeders' Crown qualifiers Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, leading into a $20,000 Breeders' Crown tournament next weekend for that big event at Hoosier Park. So we've got some really cool stuff the next couple of weeks on our promotional page.
All right, and let's move over to our fades of the week. James, which horse are you going to fade at a short price?
Race number 4 at Keeneland Saturday is an allowance race for fillies and mares at 1 mile. It's got 8 horses entered for the turf in there, and I'm fading number 8, Via Regio, at 2-1 on the morning line favorite for Brendan Walsh. This is a filly that showed talent in overseas in 2022, or at least showed promise. She won her last race there. It was a Group 3 at the Cora and shipped stateside. Came back this spring for Walsh, and while she won her first race out, I didn't think it was that good it was a real grinding performance. I thought she got the perfect trip that day and won the 3-horse photo. The thing I don't like about Via Regio is that since that race last April, she has shown very little, has been in position a couple times and just was completely empty in the stretch. And last time out at Kentucky Downs, I thought was flat throughout it. And that race was a restricted stake race where the winner of that race, Sister Luann, had not won since like June of 2022, had run last in a recent stakes race attempt. That was not a good field, I didn't think. Via Regio is 2-1 favorite in there and runs a well-beaten 5th. So I want no part of those types at short odds. and I'm willing to fade Via Regio in race 4 on Saturday. Darin, what do you got?
Yeah, that was actually one of my fades too, but I went in a race on Sunday. I want no part of Vergara at 9-5 in the Dowager. This filly's won twice in her last 10, 11 starts, and both of them were identical trips where she laid second off of a pedestrian pace, going a route of ground, both times at Kentucky Downs at 1 mile and 5/16. Now this horse is going to stretch out to 1.5 miles in a race that I think we will see a little bit more in terms of pace with Be Up to the Outside, Personal Best, Romagna Mia, more quality fillies. I don't think she's sitting that catbird second trip just off of the speed where she's able to pounce through a slow pace and hold everybody else off. You have a horse in this race like Personal Best, who I think is going to improve off the last effort. Romagna Mia, who scratched out of a stake over soft ground in New York last week, coming out of the Grade 1 Beverly D, I think definitely does fit in this spot. You have Lovely Princess, who's been in excellent form of late as well. And I think Transient ran a better race than Vergara did in the ladies' marathon, where she had to close into those dawdling fractions, and I think was completely pace compromised that day. So for me, in the Dowager on Sunday, Vergara at 9-5 is a stone cold play against Ashley.
I like it. And Lovely Princess, I think, is cross-entered in that allowance I talked about on Saturday, which I thought was interesting, but like her at 1.5 miles as well. I'm going to take it back to Saturday and talk about the finale, which was race 10. And I'm going to fade number 11, Fauci, at 2-1. Fun name. 5.5 furlong allowance on turf for 3-year-olds and up. And this is a Malibu Moon 5-year-old who has not won in 12 starts. He last won in June of 2021 at Monmouth at today's distance. He was beaten a neck and a half length in the last 2. So getting closer to the winner's circle, but I'm going to look elsewhere here, and I like number 5, Axthelm, at 7-2 for Safi Joseph. This is an Into Mischief colt who posted a 90 Brisnet speed figure in his last 2 races, and he came off a 5th in his last race at 7 furlongs, but cutting back in distance here. I also think number 1, Will to Run in the first start for Tom Amos has a chance, and even Gregory's Pride at 10-1. So a couple horses that I think can beat Fauci in the finale.
Yeah, he's got 8 seconds at 5/3 with 2 wins. So yeah, you're hey, second or third, he likes to run. So that's a good fade.
Okay, well, what else are y'all going to be looking forward to this weekend? We'll go with Darin.
Yeah, also on Sunday, back to Sunday for me, race number 5, which is a filly and mare turf sprint. Carimba is going out for Ray Hernandez. This is a filly or a mare now that used to be in the barn of Wesley Ward that I saw race at Horseshoe Indianapolis, then Indiana Grand a couple of summers ago. She is really, really fast. Now, she ran into a couple of issues towards the end of her 2021 campaign where she hit the gate twice in a row coming out of the starting gate when sprinting 5 furlongs at Horseshoe Indianapolis, and then obviously had a major issue that sent her to the sidelines for nearly 2 years. But she has come back extremely, extremely sharp. Her only defeat was second beaten in neck in a stake event on the main track at Horseshoe Indianapolis. She's versatile, although I do think she's better on turf. And if she's got whatever her physical issues were behind her, I think she is a huge potential in the filly and mare turf sprint division going forward into next year. Been a fan of hers for a couple of years now. Excited to have her back on the racetrack. Put a circle around Carimba because I think she's going to put on a show Sunday once again.
And I'll mention the Raven Run Stakes, $350,000 Grade 2 Raven Run Stakes for 3-year-old fillies at Keeneland on Saturday. It's held at the filly and mare sprint distance, 7 furlongs, and 3 of the last 5 winners, remarkably, have come right back 2 weeks later and contested the filly and mare sprint, including 2018 winner Shamrock Rose and last year's 3rd place finisher Wicked Halo. Now, granted, all 3 of those times the Breeders' Cup was held in Kentucky, twice at Keeneland and once at Churchill Downs. So I think the logistics of traveling to Santa Anita off the quick turnaround make it unlikely any of these runners Saturday will come right back for the Breeders' Cup. But it still should be a very intriguing race. There's a lot of speed signed on. Number 4, Vava, broke through with her first stakes win last time, the Grade 3 Charleston Oaks. She's won 2 straight at 7 furlong distance, 2 for 3 at the distance in her career. And I just think she's entering on the upswing for Cherie DeVoe and should get the right setup for her late kick. I like Vava and the Raven Run. Ashley, what else do you have for us this weekend?
I'm going to talk about the other stakes on Saturday at Keeneland, which is the Perryville, and you'll see 3 of our our runners from the 2023 Kentucky Derby, and Verifying, Confidence Game, and Raise Cane. Verifying's the even money morning line favorite for Brad Cox, finished second last out in the Allen Jerkins at Saratoga, and dropping in class here off a nearly 2-month layoff. But I wanted to note 2 other horses and then a very small field, 6-horse field. And there's 2 unbeatens in here. We have number 5, Dr. Vinkman, 7-2 on the morning line, and 2 for 2 lifetime at 6.5 and 7 furlongs, and is won by a combined 10 3/4 lengths. Flashed a 102 Brisnet speed figure last out, winning by more than 5 lengths, and has John Velasquez aboard, who's red hot at Keeneland this meet. And the other unbeaten is number 3, Post Time, at 15-1, but 4 for 4, racing between 5.5 and 7 furlongs. A Brittany Russell trainee and Sheldon Russell's aboard as well. Moving up in class, I like Dr. Vinkman's chances better, and there's not a lot of speed. I think Dr. Vinkman and Verifying probably will be up front early on, so I might take a shot with Dr. Vinkman. What do you all think? Is Verifying the horse, or you think Dr. Vinkman has a chance?
Dr. Venkman, I've been high on since I've watched his first couple of starts. I thought it was a really interesting spot to send this horse to Kentucky. You know, I obviously he's not going to the Breeders' Cup off of a win in an entry-level allowance, but I would have thought that there was probably some kind of a race at Santa Anita, and there actually is an allowance event at Santa Anita in the fall that this horse could have run in. But instead they're sending the horse here. I know it's a stake race, but to send the horse from Santa Anita, where he just worked out 4 or 5 days ago, over to Keeneland here for the Perryville, really interesting spot. Probably tells me that they're pretty high on him. They want to get this horse an opportunity in stakes and thought this was probably one of the last spots for him. And maybe they're going to use this as a prep for the Grade 1 Malibu at the end of the year over at Santa Anita. But Dr. Venkman, for me, could absolutely be legitimate, James.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's using this as a prep for the Malibu for 3-year-olds at 7 furlongs. And, you know, the thing with Verifying is he has placed in 5 of his last 5 stakes where he has run second. He has 4 seconds in stakes. And the one time that he won, he was life and death. The hold-off race came by a nose in that Indiana Derby. Dr. Venkman has superior numbers. I hope Verifying's a big favorite because I'm going to bet him with confidence over Verifying, who I think is the main rival.
Great. Well, we're all on Dr. Vinkman, it sounds like. All right. Well, that's all the time we have today for the jury. Again, use that promo code, the jury, all one word, for that 15% boost on win wagers in our best bets and fade section. All of those races we talked about, of course, those Keeneland promos as well. And we'll be back next Thursday with more best bets and fades. We'll see you then.